Hello, 7th graders. We are back to our English classes through our YouTube channel because for the time being we can't meet at the classroom because of the sudden holiday. I hope you all doing very well. And I want you to take it seriously and try to follow up with us and study at home very well. You have already taken part 1 with teacher Fida of the story Land. Now, today we're going to start with part 2. I want you to listen to the CD very carefully. And after that, I'll explain the part for you. Listen.
Turn to page 170. Land, Part 2.
Just then, a tall man arrived. He was wearing a large fur hat and a large fur coat. "This is our chief," said one of the Bashkirs. Pahom went to the cart at once. He took out a beautiful coat and 5 pounds of tea. He gave these to the chief. The chief took them and sat down. Some of the Bashkirs came near him and whispered in his ear. The chief listened. Then he said, "I agree." The chief turned to Pahom and said, "Choose whatever piece of land you like. We will sell it to you. We have plenty of land." "What is the price?" asked Pahom. "Our price is always the same," said the chief. "The price is 500 rubles a day." Pahom did not understand. He said, "How can the price be 500 rubles a day?" The chief laughed. "It is easy," he said. "We sell the land by the day. You can have all the land that you can walk around in a day. The price is 500 rubles. Pahom was surprised. He could walk around a large piece of land in a day, and 500 rubles was not too much money. He had 500 rubles in his pocket. Pahom said, "But in a day, I can walk around a very large piece of land." The chief laughed. He said, "Then it will be yours." The chief stopped laughing. "But there is one thing," he said. "You must return to the place you started. You must return there before the day is over. If you take longer than a day, you lose your money." "But how will you know where I have walked?" asked Pahom. "That is easy," said the chief. "Here is a shovel. Take it with you. Start at any place you like. As you walk along, dig some holes. They will tell us where you walked."
Part 2 starts when the chief of the Bashkirs arrived. The chief that Pahom was waiting in order to buy a land from him. Now let's read paragraph 1 again. Just then a tall man arrived. He was wearing a large fur hat and a large fur coat. "This is our chief," said one of the Bashkirs. Pahom went to the cart at once. He took out a beautiful coat and 5 pounds of tea. He gave these to the chief. The chief took them and sat down. Some of the Bashkirs came near him and whispered in his ear. So, in this paragraph, there is a short description of the Bashkir's chief. Can you describe the chief? Think of it for a while. Yes, he was a tall man. He was a tall man, and he was wearing a large fur hat and a large fur coat. So, the chief of the Bashkirs was a tall man, and he was wearing a large fur hat and a large fur coat. Now, why did Baham went to the cart when he saw the chief? Why did he went to the cart when he saw a chief? Did he want to flee? Did he change his mind and he didn't want to buy a land anymore? What do you think? Yes, he wanted to give the chief a present or a gift. What was this present or what was the gift? The gift was a beautiful coat and 5 pounds of tea. A beautiful coat and 5 pounds of tea. He gave them to the chief. Did the chief accept the gift? Of course he did. The chief took these and sat down. Now, in the last line of the paragraph, some of the Bashkirs came near him and whispered in his ear. Now we will know what did they tell him. Now let's move to paragraph number 2 or line number 8. The chief listened. Then he said, I agree. The chief turned to Baham and said, choose whatever piece of land you like. We will sell it to you. We have plenty of land. What is the price? Asked Baham. Our price is always the same, said the chief. The price is 500 rubles a day. Baham did not understand. He said, how can the price be 500 rubles a day? The chief laughed. It is easy, he said. We sell the land by the day. You can have all the land that you can walk around in a day. The price is 500 rubles. Baham was surprised. He could walk around a large piece of land in a day. And 500 rubles was not too much money. He had 500 rubles in his pocket. Baham said, but in a day I can walk around a very large piece of land. Okay, now here is the agreement. The chief agreed to give Baham a land. And the price was very cheap. The price was very cheap that Baham was totally surprised. What was the price? The price was 500 rubles a day. He can take as much land as he can walk around in a day with 500 rubles. What a cheap price for a land. Baham was astonished. Astonished means surprised. Now let's move to line number 24. Line number 20, here it is. The chief laughed. He said, then it will be yours. The chief stopped laughing, but there is one thing, he said. You must return to the place you started. You must return there before the day is over. If you take longer than a day, you lose your money. But how will you know where I have walked? Asked Baham. That is easy, said the chief. Here is a shovel. Take it with you. Start at any place you like. As you walk along, dig some holes. They will tell us where you walked. Okay, now the chief told Pacham that he can own a land that he can walk around in a day with a price, a cheap price, which is 500 rubles. But there was one condition for that. Pacham must return there before the day is over. If Pacham took longer than a day, he will lose his money. Now, Pacham had a question, a very important question. He asked the chief, "How will you know where I have walked? How can you know the land that I have walked in or around in a day?" The chief said that it was an easy job. He gave him a shovel and asked him to take it with him and to start at any place he liked. And as he walked along, he has to dig some holes. Through this, they will know where he walked and know the land that he will own for 500 rubles. We are still on the same page 170. We are going to listen to the last line or the last two sentences of page number 170, then turn to page number 171.
Pacham was very happy. He said that he would leave the next morning. That night, Pacham could not sleep. He kept thinking about the land. He thought, "I will walk around a very large piece of land. I can walk 30 or 35 miles in a day. I will have a huge piece of land. I'll sell some of the land and I'll rent some of it to farmers. But I'll keep the best land for myself. That's where I'll have my farm." Pacham thought about the land all night. He finally fell asleep just before dawn. As soon as he closed his eyes, Pacham had a dream. He dreamed that he was lying in his tent and that he heard someone laughing outside. He dreamed that he went outside and saw the Bashkir chief. The chief was laughing loudly. In his dream, Pacham asked the chief, "Why are you laughing?" But the chief did not answer. Pacham looked closely at the chief. Then Pacham saw that it was not the chief who was laughing. It was the traveler who had told him about the land. The traveler was laughing loudly. The laughter grew louder and louder and louder. Pacham suddenly woke up. That was a strange dream, Pacham thought to himself. He looked around and saw that it was early in the morning. "It's time to wake up my helper," he thought. "We must leave now." He got up and went outside. He woke up the helper, who was sleeping in the cart. Then he went to call the Bashkirs. "It's time to go for the land," Pacham said. The Bashkirs were ready, and they started to walk. Pacham carried the shovel in his hand. They walked until they came to the top of a hill. Then the chief came up to Pacham. The chief pointed to the plain below. "Look down there," said the chief. "Everything you can see is ours. You may have whatever land you want." Pacham was very happy. He could see that it was wonderful land. The chief took off his fur hat. He put it on the ground. "This will be the starting point," he said, "right here." He touched the hat with his foot.
Now we learned that Pacham was very happy. He thought that he can own as much land as he can walk around for 500 rubles only. He was too greedy that he wanted to walk for a long distance in order to own a large piece of land. The night before the day he will walk around the land, he had a dream. In his dream, he saw someone laughing loudly at him. At first, he thought that he was the chief of the Bashkirs, and then it came out that the traveler was the one who was laughing loudly at him. The next day, he woke up eagerly because he wanted to start his plan to own a large piece of land. He woke up he woke up his helper in order to meet with the Bashkirs and the chief of the Bashkirs in order to start the trip inside the land. Now, in the last paragraph, they meet the chief, and the chief took off his fur hat and he put it on the ground, and he said that this is going to be your starting point. From here, you will walk and return back. Now open at page number 172 and listen to the rest of part 2.
This is where you will start, said the chief, and this is where you must finish. Walk wherever you like. All the land that you walk around in a day will be yours. But keep in mind, you must return to this spot before the sun sets. Pacham took out his 500 rubles. He put them on the hat. Then the helper walked toward Pacham. He gave Pacham some bread and some water. Pacham put the bread into the pocket of his pants. He pushed the bottle of water inside his belt. He was ready to start.
In this paragraph, you can see that the chief said to Pacham and reminded him that he has to start from the point he marked with his hat, and he reminded him that he has to come back before the day is finished at the same point that he marked. Pacham paid the 500 rubles and put them on the hat. Now his helper gave him some bread and some water to help him survive the journey inside the land. He put the bread on his pocket and he pushed the bottle of water inside his belt. Now he is ready to start his journey, and in the next part you will know what will happen to Pacham in his journey inside the land of the Bashkirs.